I am Johnny Massacre and welcome to my world. Tonight, Zohran Mamdani has won the mayoral race of New York City and has become mayor of New York. I would like to hear your opinions about this. I'm certainly going to give you mine, and I've got some facts on the guy who's now running things in New York. Who is with me? Give me a hell yeah! If you enjoyed tonight's episode of Johnny Massacre's World, my world, a world very far away and yet so close, please consider donating on streamlabs.com/Johnny Massacre, and it will help me to make more of these videos. So while we are waiting for people to gather in the comments, because text-to-speech is on and I want to hear your opinions about Zohran Mamdani becoming mayor of New York, I got loads of info, bruv, to bring you up to speed on what's going on if you haven't had time to do that yourselves. So should we take a little look at what is going on in New York City? It's absolutely crazy, bruv. So I have his full speech and it's about 24 minutes long, so maybe we'll watch the whole thing a little bit later on. And at first I can just give you a few clips of the man in question. All right, you ready for this, cuzzy? Because I am ready. Okay, so when he won, this is what he said. Let's listen. This is his speech, his full speech. This is a clip which is worth listening to.
To those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own. I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas.
So the first people he thanks for his election victory are foreigners. Not the people who literally built New York City, but it's mad. It's just mad watching this. It's weird because socialists do the same thing every time. They just say that rich people are bad and poor people are good, and rich people stole everything from the poor people, so we need to destroy the rich people and steal their stuff and give it to the poor people. They do it endlessly, but the people who make all the money pay all of the net taxes in the city. So if you get rid of them, no one's going to have any jobs. If you steal their stuff and give it to other people, those people are not going to be motivated to work, and the people who make the money are just going to leave. He's a communist. He quotes from Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto. He's a literal communist. So what he wants to do is he wants to steal rich people's money and just give it away to people who vote for him. And people just fall for it again and again and again and again and again and again. It's so weird. It's like the human empathy circuit is easily hackable. If you say these people are being hurt and these people are hurting them, people will just clap like seals and vote. It's so weird. It's so weird. But anyways, he's thanking Mexicans. Senegalese taxi drivers. So I haven't been to America yet. I kind of really want to go. I really want to go. I don't think I'm going to go to New York now because I don't go to New York to interact with Senegalese taxi drivers because Senegal is an it-hole, Shay. It's an absolute ump day. If you went out there, you'd be dead within a week if you just went wandering around in Senegal. So if you bring people from Senegal into your country, you bring their values and their culture as well. If Senegal is so great, then why is their country a dump and doesn't make anything? So he's thanking Senegalese taxi drivers. He's talking about taking the money away from the productive people in New York and giving it to people like Senegalese taxi drivers who are not going to produce anything. They just drive around in cars. With the greatest of respects to taxi drivers, you aren't the people that build the city. So this is a crazy speech. And New York is the financial capital of the world. I guess it's true. If you just repeat propaganda endlessly enough, they're eventually going to vote for a socialist. The problem is people have less money now more than ever, and people seem to have less of a stake in the capitalist free market than they ever had. And so if they're not invested in what's going on, then they turn to ideologies like this. So we can speculate upon how to bring down inflation and bring down prices and stuff. Obviously, socialism isn't the answer, but perhaps that's one of the reasons why this guy can get away with this incredible speech. Let's see who else he thanks.
Uzbek nurses.
Uzbek nurses he's thanking for his victory. I would never go to Uzbekistan ever because it's a dump.
Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties.
Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. These people didn't really bring the world a whole lot. Let's be honest. There is nobody on the face of planet Earth who wants this guy to succeed more than me because I'm trying to make it as a DJ, and to do that, there's hardly any. I have to find a way to somehow make money and support myself. It's like having a job and getting no money for it. I want the socialist utopia to fucking work, dude. I would love it to work. I'll take the money and then I'll just concentrate on making music. I fucking want this guy to succeed. But the thing is, where is the money going to come from? You have to take it from someone. You have to steal from someone. And then those people are going to leave. And then there's no more money. And then they're going to have to raise taxes to pay for things. I just don't understand. I don't understand. I don't know. Like, is the concept of socialism as an economic and basically a religious theory, let's not kid ourselves, is it too multi-layered for the average person to understand? What's the argument here? I really want to hear. Mate, I fucking want some free money. I want it. I want this guy to win, but this is just crazy. So it's just purely ideological. He's just thanking immigrants. And it shows you why the Democrats imported tens of millions of immigrants during Biden's tenure, because they will vote for a socialist state. I've said this so many times, and now I'm starting to see people mention this on X, which is people coming from these dumps. If they come to your country, it's so much infinitely better than theirs. And even if in the end they kind of turn it into a dump, it will be exactly the same as where they came from, but just with more infrastructure. So these people got nothing to lose, but it brings down the life standards of everyone else who has to pay for these people. It's absolutely bananas, cuckoo, crackerjack. I cannot believe what is happening, but it is happening in New York City. So let's keep on going. Let's keep on going with this speech. Very interesting. Who else is he going to thank?
Yes, aunties. To every New Yorker in Kensington and Midwood and Hunts Point.
It's really, really weird. So he basically didn't thank any white people. Imagine if you'd gone up there and thanked white people. It'd be fucking weird, right? That's basically what he's doing in reverse. And there you go. So the Democrat strategy now is to take the reins of power via Islamo-communism. It's the most potent mix ever. Communism is basically neo-Marxism in the modern age and wokeness. So that means you've got to support the victims, like he's saying there, the immigrants and the women and all this kind of stuff. And if you criticize them taking power, you're going to be called like a racist, sexist, and you'll lose your job, basically. And when you throw Islam into the mix, you can get people to lose their jobs and get people cancelled even quicker, because being Islamophobic is probably the easiest way to lose your job in the modern first world in the West. It's a very, very potent mix. And people who are Islamic massively, disproportionately vote for socialist candidates because the wives of Muslim men don't usually work, and so they want to receive benefits. And so they're going to vote for a candidate who offers them free stuff like this. This is a Democrat ploy. They're importing a new voter base of immigrants who are going to vote for them, and you're going to have to pay for them. Absolutely crazy strategy. But that's what is happening, and it's happening in New York City. This is a massive black pill. Really, really hard to understand. I can't understand why people will vote for this, but this is what is happening. So let's just go through some of the images from his electoral win. So Alex Soros, Soros donated to his campaign, Mamdani's campaign. Now, if you want to see an ironic image, this is it. So we have Soros congratulating Mamdani in a New York penthouse, one of the most expensive properties known to man. He is congratulating the guy who's promising to take all of his money away, and who is demonizing billionaires like him. It's so fucking weird. Spoiler though, Soros uses your tax money to fund NGOs to propagate his socialist policies. He doesn't actually spend that much of his own money. That's the scam. For you, if you want to see an ironic image, you've got Mamdani congratulating the guy who he demonized all the way throughout his campaign. The mental illness of socialism never seems to abate. So when Mamdani won, we had a victory party, and there was all these just people who make life miserable celebrating with Mamdani. We got Mehdi Hassan, this fake American Islamic guy who just hates the West and loves socialism. We got Hassan Piker, who read from my Fisher Price, My First Socialist Handbook. This guy is probably the biggest streamer in the world, and he's not very smart. He can't make a coherent intellectual argument, and he just repeats ad verbatim all of the Marxist doctrine. He was there. Yes, the guy who shocks his dog, the guy who said 9/11 was justified, he was there. This is the kind of person that Mamdani attracts. We got Mahmoud Khalil. So this guy, Mahmoud Khalil, he was the dude who the Trump administration said they were going to deport because he praised Hamas and he said Hamas's attack on October the 7th was justified. We've also got Jamal Bowman. So these are the kind of people who Mamdani surrounds himself with. It's a rather foreboding sign of things to come, if you ask me. So this is what you're in for, New York City. So 2 weeks before Hamas attacked Israel, Mamdani was already on the street screaming about Israel. So when you see all those huge disruptive Palestine protests, it's an it-hole shay in the middle of nowhere with one of the most radical terrorist regimes known to man running things, who were voted in by the people. It should have nothing to do with our lives. That is in our lives front and center every single day, with the vandalism, the screaming, the megaphones, the violence, the struggle session, the socialism, the Islamo-communist Uster Clay Ukfe, all of that shit. That guy is a figurehead for that. So get ready for tons more of those issues which shouldn't concern you, but they make it concern you because it's a way to weave this victimhood narrative so they can take control of the reins of power. Get ready for more of that, everybody. Get ready for more of it. So in the victory party, we had Jennifer Welch, and she said Americans have no culture except for multiculturalism. Crusty white people need to learn how to embrace it. So there was massive hatred against the new neo-Marxist oppressor class, which is the white male who basically built everything that they're now trashing. Here are some of the people who reacted on social media to Mamdani's victory. We have a dental student living in a multi-million-dollar apartment with a doorman in New York City who shops in Soho, one of the city's most expensive neighborhoods. And she celebrated the communist Muslims' win. Let's hear what she said and her reasoning behind her support for Mamdani.
Day one of Zohran Mamdani being elected in New York City, and look what he's brought upon us. Even God is happy because look at this. The world is healing.
So you're basically going to get evicted because Mamdani has said he plans to freeze rent. When he freezes rent and the government centralizes the economy, then it invariably, inexorably fails every time, as is evidenced by every single case of socialism in the history of man. So that means you won't have an apartment anymore. But in spite of all of these things, I don't know, man. Like people voted him in. I wanna know where the money's gonna come from, because as I said, I love socialism, man. Like, I want that free money. I want it. I'm an artist, dude. I just want to, paint things with crayons. I do. I drink my coffee, paint something with crayons, make some music, all that kind of stuff. I want this shit to work. But where the fuck? Where is it? Where is the money gonna come from? Where is it gonna come from? It comes from her. So when she loses her apartment and the landlords lose their business and they leave New York City, she's going to have to pay double or triple of taxes to make up the shortfall. Yes, this is what happens. I have read about it in the communist takeover of China. Other reactions to Mamdani winning. Here are some New Yorkers here.
Sharia law starts now. Absolutely. Zohran Mamdani, Islamic Caliphate, our brother in Islam, Islamic Caliphate of New York starts today, baby. God, there's
just something so electric, so satisfying about knowing that my MAGA parents, wherever they are probably having a horrible night tonight. Oh, I literally just got goosebumps thinking about it. Like, they are.
So the media told these people that Orange Man bad, and so these people will throw their own family under the bus and like suicide their whole life and livelihood just to fit in with what the narrative is. So women are particularly susceptible to this kind of ideology because women crave group validation as they're not able to defend themselves individually. That's how they find safety, is getting validated by the group. And obviously this woman knows in New York City the narrative is you have to support Mamdani. So people like this are supporting him even though it's suicide for themselves, especially as a white person. Absolutely crazy stuff. Here are some New York liberals saying they can't wait for free grocery stores. Some boomers. Interesting. Let's see what they have to say.
Somehow say stuff like this.
And what about the government-run grocery stores? Do you think that that's a model that could work?
Yes.
And
I
why?
think there's too many hungry people and too many potatoes here that are $5 a pound.
I can't understand that, especially how you can be that mature and not understand how socialism works. It won't bring the prices down. If the government centralizes into grocery stores or supermarkets, as we call them in the UK, it means that there's added layers of bureaucracy to determining what the prices are. There's an arbitrary price they're going to fix it at. So the price can't fluctuate in relation to the demand. And so because you have all this added bureaucracy and added time and the prices won't adapt to the market naturally, you're just going to end up losing money. And then you're going to end up with a scarcity because there aren't enough products. And when there's a scarcity, then the prices go up. Any single time in history where the government tried to control the food supply, it created devastating famines where millions of people died. So even the mature kind of liberals in New York City, I don't know, they just think it's magically going to work, fixing prices. And like, where is there one example of this ever working in history? I mean, I fucking hope they're right. If you can just set an arbitrary price in the supermarket and then all the money comes down for the consumer, I'm all for it, bro. But I can't see it working. I can't see it working. So who voted for Mamdani? Well, the biggest supporters of Mamdani were women who voted 84% in the ages of 18 to 29. So that goes back to what I was saying about women being the most susceptible group to this kind of pervasive ideology. 18 to 29-year-olds, women, 84% voted for Mamdani. Mamdani is massively pro-migration. He talked about Senegalese people and all this kind of stuff. In those countries and cultures, they commit hugely disproportionate amounts of rapes and actual, say, assaults and violence and stuff like that. So Mamdani is supporting making New York a sanctuary city and supporting immigrants first. And he says he wants healthcare for everyone, including illegals and all that kind of stuff that comes with a radical socialist. So the women who are voting for Mamdani in greatest numbers are the ones who are going to be most susceptible to his policies, which will enable actual, say, violence and rape. It's weird, dude. It's weird. It's weird. If it's this easy to get someone to vote for you in a suicidal fashion, then you better be fucking worried, not only about the midterms, but about the elections in 2028. And I don't want to blackpill too hard, but it's seeming like Trump is more and more an anomaly. Because even after all of this, and just clearly the streets of New York not being safe, I know it's worse than London, and I've been to London the last couple of years, and I've seen what it's like. People voting for these policies that will make those situations worse. It's so fucking bizarre. It's super, super weird. We have to stop calling socialism an economic theory. It's a religion. It's not an economic theory, really. The foundations of it. The foundations is Karl Marx. He was a theologian. He was not an economist before he was a theologian. And he designed Marxism and socialism to subvert all other religions because he knew that was the thing that really keeps societies going. He knew that was the thing that's the fabric of every society, the faith in religion, that religions built the best societies in the world. He designed Marxism to destroy that. It's a religion. You know, it has all the hallmarks of a religion. It has all the kind of sacrifice and self-sacrifice, but it's not for God. It's for the government, the religion of man. It's a religion, man. And that's the only thing that can explain that many vulnerable women voting for policies that could and will hurt them, in my opinion. So yeah, thank you, women aged 18 to 29, for giving the financial capital of the world, the Big Apple, over to a literal communist. Interesting stuff. So here are some fascinating stats. Check this out. All my Massacre mates out there who like politics, who are interested in politics and stuff like that. The people who voted for Mamdani, who were born in NYC, made up 38%, whereas Cuomo made up 50%. The people who had been in New York for less than 5 years, including all the immigrants and stuff, 85% voted for Mamdani and 14% voted for Cuomo. I do not understand. I mean, it's really interesting to see America's freedom being turned against it to destroy it. Call me crazy, but I don't think if you've just arrived in a city, you've only been there for less than 5 years, you should be able to change the whole culture and trajectory of that city, especially when the city is the most important city in the world and the catalyst for creating the best country in the world. Absolutely crazy numbers. Here we go. This is the Democrat strategy. They want to import illegals and they want to give them citizenship and or allow them to vote in elections, because that means the people they're bringing in will vote for socialists who promise them free money. And then when everything collapses soon after, the Democrats will be in power. This is the playbook. And it's happening all over the world. You want a bigger black pill? This is happening in London, dude. We have a Muslim mayor who's a hardcore Marxist, just like Mamdani. And he constantly gets voted in because white British make up a third of the population of London. A third. So you import these people in and then they will vote for the left. That's what the strategy is. Don't shoot the messenger. But we're seeing it actually happen now in real time in America. The Muslim vote, I saw on the Ben Shapiro show, they were the most disproportionate supporters of Mamdani of all. It was hard to get the stats because they were basically under other. But it seems like Islamo-communism is the way for the left to take over. Import a new electorate and promise people free stuff, and they're going to vote for you. Absolutely crazy stuff. Mad numbers there. People who had been in New York for less than 5 years. 85% vote for Mamdani. Oh my God. So, yes, it is true. New York want to give illegals the right to vote. Here is an article I've shown before on Reuters that says New York City law allowing non-citizens to vote struck down by court. This is the Democrat strategy. I do fear for New York, because Mamdani is on record saying that white neighborhoods should pay higher property taxes. Imagine saying that black people should pay more taxes. Straight up racism. This is now the mayor of the financial capital of the world. If you want to know why he didn't mention anyone who might be considered white in his victory speech, it is because if only black men voted, or non-white people voted in America, every single state would vote for Democrat, and Democrats would win every time. Well, I don't know how many times I have to say it. The Democrat strategy is to import a new electorate, and it doesn't matter what cultures they are from. They love an undocumented migrant from a war-torn country of fighting military age that we know nothing about. Countries which some people grape and murder to levels you simply cannot imagine. The levels of the hellscape of nightmares. Those kind of people, it doesn't matter even if they come in. And who's to fucking know what they've been up to since they're undocumented, as long as they vote for the left. And it's so fucking clever, because if you try to stop the democratic policy of destroying your country to permanently maintain power with a new electorate, you're going to be called a racist. It's so fucking clever. Strip away all the race and immigration and stuff. If you had a policy where you're trying to take over and you have this immunity because anyone who criticizes you will be called a racist, how can you be stopped? How can you be stopped in a politically correct first world country? It's so super clever. Super clever. and crazy. So as soon as Zohran got voted in, he basically reverted to type. So this is, you had the smiling kind of sociopathic Mamdani, but this is what he's really like. So he's already gotten into a kind of mad argument. Check it out. You can just see that the guy's hateful. I see a lot of hate, a lot of hatred, dude. I feel the hatred from Mamdani. So, good luck, New York. Good luck. He's gonna raise taxes if he can. We have Mamdani on record, the guy who's in control of America's financial capital, saying capitalism is theft. Taxation isn't theft. Capitalism is theft. So having freedom is theft. This is Orwellian levels of hypocrisy. That's like saying freedom is slavery. Capitalism is theft. Capitalism is private ownership of property and voluntary exchange. Do what you want. That's theft. I can't understand it. Like I want to be convinced that this is true. Then I'd have an excuse as to why I'm not a millionaire yet, and I can try to get free money. Like, it's fucking appealing. It's really fucking appealing. But I can't see how that's theft. But anyway, that's what you can't sugarcoat this, man. This guy's in control of New York City, and that's a big deal for Democrats. I believe this is going to be the Democrat strategy for 2028. So the guy who's in control of New York City, which has always been famous for crime, and now more than ever, its crime rate is absolutely out of control. He said violence is an artificial construct. This is the guy in control of New York.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction.
That speaks for itself, dude. I don't need to explain to you why that is an insane thing to say. That's bro. Okay, all right, okay, ladies of New York, 18 to 29-year-olds. Let's see how this fucking goes. Let's see how it goes, because we're not gonna save your ass. We ain't gonna save your ass. There's plenty of footage. There's footage here where he says he's talking about prisons, and he says this.
Right. What purpose do they serve?
What purpose do prisons serve? Again, that's self-explanatory. So check this out, right? People are wondering where the money's going to come from. I fucking love this. So his policy was essentially vote for me for free stuff. Then the day after he was elected, he said, you need to keep donating money to me. You're going to have to pay the people who elected him for free stuff. It didn't take more than a day, bro. I fucking love it. So check this out. This is the best video of the night.
Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again. This transition.
Oh man, I knew this was coming, G. And then you got the sociopathic smile. You can start sending money again. Fucking hell, bro. Okay. It didn't take more than a day. What can I say? So let's have a look at Mamdani's other request for money. Here he is again.
Once again, and I am asking them to do so because of the fact that, and today I am asking them to session2025.com. And, there were a few months ago where I told supporters across this city to stop donating. And today I am asking them to start once again. And I am...
Yeah, this is the thing. Is like, where does the money come from? Okay, you're going to try to tax billionaires, but they're going to... Dude, I don't know how many times I have to fucking say this. When you centralize the market, the government has never created anything and doesn't understand how to create it. And even if it did know how to create it, it can't micromanage all these businesses. So their businesses will fail. It's hard enough in a free market for a business to succeed. With government intervention and centralization, it will fail. When they leave, someone else has to pay the taxes, because not the top 1%, the top 0.1% of the highest earners pay a quarter of all the taxes in New York. So when they leave, the people who vote for him, the workers, they're going to have to make up the difference. They're going to have to pay more. This is what's going to happen. Again, I don't want to be right on this shit. I want socialism to work. It would be fucking amazing. But where does the money come from? It's going to come from you, I'm afraid, as proved there by Mamdani asking his people to just give him money. Okay, interesting stuff. So his transition team is all women. So you can expect DEI to the core. As if his policies weren't bad enough, he's just going to hire people because of their accident of birth. Nothing to do with whether they're suitable for the job. If you only hire women, you are reducing the talent pool by 50%. 50%. This is not just any business on a street corner. This is the New York municipal governance. You need the best of the best to make that fucking place work. He's already removed 50% of the possible candidates by just hiring a socialist underclass. It's getting crazy already in New York City. Absolutely mad. He says raising taxes is how he's going to fund his agenda. And I said this before, I'm going to say it again. When this fails, I do not want to hear anything about Donald Trump or big business or capitalism being bad, because he is saying from the beginning, quote, what scares Republicans across the country is the fact that we will actually deliver on this agenda. Okay, so you're putting out that you will deliver. If it doesn't work, if the economy gets worse, if crime goes up, if it goes bad, you cannot blame anyone because you said you're going to deliver. And then we can all say once and for all that socialism doesn't work until the next election when you're going to try it all again. But I'm going to bring this video back and I'm going to tell you, I told you so. So yes, the new electorate of Islamo-communists. Some people are speculating in 2028 it's going to be Zohran Mamdani and AOC. They were pictured together after Mamdani won in New York, soon after his victory. People are speculating, do you think it's going to be those two in 2028? I mean, oh my God, dude, what can I say? The one saving grace for Mamdani, Cuzzy Wuzzy, is he's an Arsenal fan. So he supports my team. I would like to ask him who his favourite players are. But so I'm not sure I believe him. But he supports Arsenal, apparently, which is mental.
I have to say, I've spent many days in my youth watching the transfer window close, final hours on Sky News. So it's a pleasure to have you here. Yeah, I'm an Arsenal fan.
Bruv. So if that's true, that's the one good thing I've heard about Mamdani. The one good thing, and that's not saying much because most football fans, not wanting to be elitist, but even ones who support Arsenal are absolute anchorways. Let's be real. You've read the football comments on X. Very low IQ stuff. Not that big brain 1000 plus IQ that you're looking at on your screen right now. So there you go, Cuzzy. One little shred of good news. That fucking weird looking guy, Omar, whatever his name was, Fatter, he basically didn't win in Minneapolis. He lost by 5 points, according to Andy No, to incumbent woke mayor Jacob Frey. So it's the lesser of two evils, but this video was mad. Did you see this? I wish I had prepped this. So he's looking around and he's just looking super... This is not... this. Man, if you wanted an image to convince somebody that aliens walk among us in skin suits, it would be this. So yeah, do you remember this? And then they're not even speaking English and they're speaking to the new electorate. Oh my freaking God, that guy lost. So that's good, but then you had a woke person. So the left are veering harder and harder and harder away from the right. Their Overton window is truly a speck on the horizon that can only be viewed with a 1,000-yard screw face.
Politics of our city who made this movement their own.
Okay. The politics of Marxism. Let's see how it goes, Cuzzy. So, yeah, I'm not making political videos anymore because it's just... I'm just making music. I'm just doing things that I enjoy and put my energies into that. As I said, when I feel a certain way about something like this, which is big news, and I can feel the energy being bottled up, I will make a video and talk about it. And I'm going to get your opinions now. I really want to hear it. This is one such case. I found recently, changing the subject a little bit, breaking the fourth wall here, cuzzy. I found recently that, yeah, when I tried to step away from politics and looking at X and all that stuff, I could only really do it for a day or two. And okay, I do feel much better, and I want to take a bit of distance from it, but I don't think I can completely extricate myself from it. As we get older, we do become more interested in politics. And I'm sure there's many, I'm 42, and I'm sure people who were 42, 20 or 30 years ago might have felt the same way now. So, and perhaps from their perspective back then, things were just as bad, or there was just as much at stake. But I think, relatively speaking, now we're at a more kind of politically charged era than before. Because when I was growing up, the politics in media was no way near as obvious and pervasive as it is now. I was watching Terminator 2 clips recently. Man, that fucking hell. Do you know, of course I know Terminator 2 is good, but in my mature wisdom, it's dawned on me that that's actually probably top 5 films of all time. It's absolutely fucking incredible. I was super enjoying watching clips of that recently. And when I noticed, okay, there's things in there which are probably, maybe they're political, like some of the choices for the characters. You've got this female lead who's kicking ass. You could argue maybe back then they did that because Cameron is a liberal and he felt that was the thing to do. Back then, at that age, I probably would have said the same thing. But even if Sarah Connor, the female lead in that film, was included for those reasons, it didn't have this veneer of victimhood that it has now, where everyone's a victim and we have to feel sorry for these people. We need to redistribute power to save the victims. The female characters in those films were grounded and they had limitations compared to today, like Force Awakens and other films like that, where women just kick everyone's asses, and the later Terminator films where women kick everyone's asses. It seems like now everything is so fucking political, you can't get away from it. And it's so threatening, because if these ideologies win, you're going to have hundreds of, or tens of millions of illegals, immigrants in your country who come from dangerous cultures. I feel like it's a folly now to completely ignore politics and just let that happen. Back in the day when I was younger, okay, we started to see the effects of mass migration, but it wasn't as much of a threat as it is now. Now, a day doesn't go by where some young girl hasn't been raped or murdered or angle strayed in the UK. So I am taking a step back from politics, but I still will look at it. But I feel like I'm just trying to look at it in a controlled way and not habitually and addictively, because it's just too fucking much otherwise. Mamdani is an exception. We have to talk about this. Financial capital of the world. Do you think New York is super woke like all the big progressive cities out there, and it's probably not as much of a big deal as some people are making out? America's a constitutional republic, as you keep reminding me, and it has a lot of checks and balances. And if New York's going to shoot itself in the foot, you're going to see the rise of other states with less oppressive taxes and less regulation. You're going to see the growth of Texas. You're going to see the growth of Florida and Miami and all that kind of stuff. Or do you think that the literal communists being in control of the financial capital in the world, and as I said before, the catalyst for making America into such an amazing country, is a devastating blow to liberty and an ominous premonition of what might be to come for the world? Do let me know your opinions in the comments, because I'd love to hear them. If you did enjoy this episode of Johnny Massacre's World, please consider donating via the link up there. I would appreciate it very much. Need your help more than ever.
Badger says, remember no voter ID in NY.
Yes.
Brad W says, same people are still in charge. Don't be fooled. Brad W says, see. Milkitia makes things says howdy. The displeased badger says milky.
Oops.
Brad W says, aloha. The displeased badger says, yeah, millions of retards. Milkitia makes things says, the best New York can hope for is that he pulls a psych on the whole communism business LMAO. Milkitia makes things says, LMAO, that's a really sweet sentiment. The displeased badger says, I just wanna know the trick to painting with crayons. I've been using them for coloring.
It's impossible. Don't bother.
Milkitia makes Ting says, ah, come on, that Sharia law thing was a joke. Milkitia makes Ting says, you got to wait for a very hot day. Victoria. Brad W says, repeal it. Milkitia makes Ting says, I've been listening to a lot of North Korean pop music lately, and if that's what communism creates, bring it on, baby. The displeased badger says, cause they're all stupid washed up cultra hippies. Milkitia makes Ting says, what about the potato famine? Too soon? The displeased badger says those geezer hippies can have fun riding camel taxis.
Oh no, you're gonna get your text-to-speech taken away now.
Carry on. The displeased badger says that's how they do all these cities imported voters.
Oh, I have to be careful with Victoria.
Milkitia makes Ting says the South would agree with you. That's why you get shit if you're a Californian. The displeased badger says, I watched a stream last night titled New Yorkers the South Doesn't Want You Mayo. Milkitia makes Ting says, man Victoria, how did that make you feel, Mayo? The displeased badger says, I totally get it, it's why I left, besides I'm the New Yorker they want. I'm voting red. The displeased badger says, Trump is a New Yorker, it's who they voted for. Milkitia makes Ting says, ha ha ha, I don't vote, everyone sucks. Brad W says, just want to put it out there. Trinidad is the richest Caribbean country. No one is coming from there as a refugee, there's no war and it's hard to get a visa.
Damn.
Milkitia makes Ting says, that's how I felt about Bernie, that dude was so full of hate you could see it in his eyes. The displeased badger says, I'd be angry too if my wives had to shave their mustaches every CPL hours.
Oh no, you're gonna get text-to-speech taken away.
These women didn't ask to be born into that culture. Brainwashed and treated like actual human trash. Brad W says, they are gonna move to Florida, great. Milkitia makes Ting says, we must protect Brad Mayo. The displeased badger says, don't worry Brad, they can't afford to move now, lol. Brad W says, they are accustomed to living in closet-sized apartments. Do you know many New Yorkers they could fit in a 2-bedroom Florida apartment? Milkitia makes Ting says, at least 30 vegans. The displeased badger says, what about vegan Mexicans 40-45? Milkitia makes Ting says, here's a fact Johnny, if Americans know what a football is, they are an Arsenal fan, we are attracted to red, very lizard brain. Brad W says, and they already share a bathroom with entire floors, 30 vegans, they will flood the swamp. None of them have solid bowel movements. The displeased badger says, that dude looks like what a skeleton on meth would look like. The displeased badger says, Brad. The displeased badger says, on the upside there will be a lot of hearty catfish in Florida, Brad. Chris Campbell says, every time I get out, it pulls me back in. Brad W says, Johnny, you're gonna get me banned, guys. Look at this alien looking dude, where is the line?
He looks like an alien, bruv.
Says we can't be the problem. Milkitia makes Ting says, it's his fault for setting us up. The displeased badger says, definitely a setup, he knows I have no self-control, lol. Brad W says, the man is holding us back. Milkitia makes Ting says, we could get way worse, lol. Brad W says, I'm at 2/10 on the worst scale. The displeased badger says, Johnny, if you want our real opinions we would be on Rumble, you don't want our opinions, lol. Chris Campbell says, look at Johnny getting ready to talk over the objectionable TTS readouts.
I take it seriously. We had a comment from someone new called Vault X. I think he's new. So Vault X is actually coming from a Mamdani voter. Please be respectful and don't be an asshole to him. Because I wanna understand it. And he said, I'm 23 years old, living in Bedford Park, Bronx. I can't afford living in New York. That's why I voted for Zohran. Not only me, all my friends voted for Zohran. So there you go. I just fucking hope it works for you, bro. I really hope it works. There's never been an example in history of socialism ever working and ever generating any money and doing anything other than raise taxes. So I can't see where it's going to come from. I think, in my opinion, the only way this can work is New York being one of the financial capitals of the world. Even if the taxes are ridiculously high, you're still going to make more money potentially than you would in Europe. That's why all the top talent flees Europe for America. And because of the reputation of it, people will hang around anyways. And best case scenario is, price controls don't work though, but some form of price control, light price control, and alleviates rent a little bit, and then New Yorkers have a bit more money to spend and they start spending. I mean, if that fucking works, it would be, oh my God, it would be a miracle. It's never happened before, but I mean, I hope it works for your sake, mate. I hope it works.
Brad W says let him call in and discuss it. Milkitia makes things says get those calls in.
There's calls in.
Badger says Brad.
Get those calls in. We're going to discuss socialism versus capitalism, y'all. It's going to be a heated debate, I'm sure. So, there we go. I've got your opinion on it. Thank you. I hope everyone's well. And yeah, I can't.
Brad W says, actually there was one socialism that worked. Worked really well. But we can't discuss the painter.
Oh man. This is where we have to end the stream now. We have to end the stream. Oh God. No, but thing is, I read a few books about him. I don't know. People say that he was a kind of socialist, but I didn't really see a whole lot of socialist stuff from him. You know, he did march with the Reds. He had his cat with a star or something and marched with the Reds before he kind of really got into politics. That was at the beginning of the book that I read, and that was quite interesting. But as someone who really dislikes socialism, I was poring over all the details of the Austrian painter, trying to find evidence to say, oh, he's the guy's a socialist. But I didn't. It seemed completely different to what was happening in other countries. But there was centralization of business, right? They essentially took over a lot. So, but yeah, no, I don't think it was like that. Okay, everyone. Thanks for joining. We're going to do a cheeky live stream now, so I'm going to end this stream, and you're going to be redirected to the Clonk and Otter, a virtual British pub. There will be no pub lunch today. It's going to have madcap British vibes. It's a little bit more relaxed than this. And we're going to talk about loads of things. Man, there's so much to talk about. I've got some nerdy pictures from Akihabara in Tokyo, retro gaming stuff. We can talk about Terminator 2, watch a few clips from that. There's a Prodigy song that I found recently I hadn't heard before, and it's one of my favorite already by the Prodigy. What else we got? DJing. Do I want to talk about DJing? We could do. And my music is coming, you. I've been spending time on music. Who wants to hear the latest version of my songs? I'm going to play them to you. Whole lot of mercy. I'm getting excited. Thanks very much, everyone. Much love to you. Take care. Good night. See you over in the Clonk and Otter. You'll be redirected now. Cheers, everyone. Cheers, cheers, cheers.